approvals. We expect to be in construction sometime in 2014, and it's probably going to be 18 to 20 months in the field. It's a little difficult to manage a construction timeline these days because you don't know where they get the materials and skilled labor, but that is our goal for this project. So that's the Memorial Center. The third bricks and mortar project to be supported by this capital campaign is the expansion of our Kula Urban Farm, which we've been operating just north of the Springwood Center since around 2014, 2015. You know, I've mentioned I've been at Interfaith Neighbors for 23, 24 years. We really do good things, folks. In my time in Interfaith Neighbors, nothing has captured the interest of the local community as has this urban farm. Everyone has some connection to either gardening or a farm, either currently or in their past, in their history, wherever they may have lived. And when we established this as an urban farm right off Springwood Avenue National Park, it actually blew people's minds. It's been the best community engagement tool that we have found because everyone wants to know what's going on here. The community benefits from the yield from this farm. This particular project will give us the opportunity to expand the growing ability of the farm. It will also give us, in a 10-month of the year, outdoor pavilion covered, the opportunity to expand workshops and community meetings for the community as part and parcel of that community engagement tool. So this is the third of the 3 bricks and mortar projects to be sponsored by this particular capital campaign. All 3 of these projects, as well as all of the building that we do, our house architect is Short Point Architecture. They do a terrific job, and Steve College, the principal and owner of Short Point Architecture, is here. So Steve, thank you very much for the work you and your team put in to design these buildings. So I think I've reached that, cover everything I was supposed to say. Okay, good. So terrific. Kathy, it's up to you.
I was wondering why Paul was speaking so quickly. He's known to be very, interested in when he's talking about wanting to share all his information, but I think I saw a cattle prod. There's good stuff in there.
Somebody said I do okay.
Oh, thank you, Paul. That was great. Needless to say, this campaign would not be possible at all except for the generosity of so many people already. And as Peter mentioned, we've already raised more than $13 million over the months of the quiet period. And if I fail to use this opportunity to recognize our lead donors, I would be remiss and probably kick off the board. So although you might be feeling a little bit shy, I'd like to invite those of you who have already contributed to the campaign to please raise your hands so we can show our appreciation right here, right now. I see my former colleagues from New Jersey Resources over there, and I know that you guys have pledged, and nobody's hands went up. Even Larry, as a private citizen, but you raised your hand when you were acknowledged, right, Larry? I also want to mention that my husband was a St. Rose graduate from that great Monmouth County School in Belmar. Said, wow, so many of the names that get mentioned as people who work and donate their time to Interfaith Neighbors are St. Rose grads. We're very proud. Through the remarkable generosity of our donors, those who are with us here tonight, as well as those who were unable to join us, we've already raised 75% of our goal, as Peter mentioned earlier. So take a moment to check out this list of our lead donors. We're all so deeply grateful to each one of them. In addition, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the vision and leadership of my colleagues on the campaign committees. First, I'd like to invite the members of the campaign steering committee and the executive committees to raise your hands. And again, don't be shy. There you go. Thanks to each and every one of you for your leadership and dedication to the campaign's success. We still have another $5 million to go, which is not an inconsiderable amount of money raised. But I know without a shadow of a doubt that working together, we'll definitely reach that goal. Crucially, from my point of view, the campaign has also had the complete support of our entire board from the get-go. And I'd like to ask the members of the Interfaith Neighbors Board of Trustees, please raise your hands. Thank you so much for your leadership and your support. It means a lot to me and to Peter. Finally, well, not quite finally, but as to the Interfaith Neighbors team, you can never ever say enough good things about what they bring to Interfaith Neighbors in the community every single day. We are so grateful for and inspired by your continued dedication to the mission and the day-to-day success of our organization. You are the reason Interfaith Neighbors impacts the community the way it does. And we are incredibly proud of each and every one of you. Good. I also want to recognize the Moonshine Group. Tanya's here for the Moonshine Group. They have been our capital campaign council, and they have just been amazing for, this is Interfaith Neighbors' first capital campaign. How old are you, Paul? 35 years old? This is our first time we've ever been out in the community raising money. So we were a bunch of, neophytes in this realm, and Tanya and the team at Moonshine have been amazing. So thank you. Finally, as Peter's co-chair, I'd like to thank him and Tatiana for literally moving the sun and the moon to ensure our success in this campaign. I've never met anyone who quite personified that expression, walk the walk, as this man and Tatiana. It's just been incredible. I am not like a neophyte. I too have been around many decades, Paul, and having the privilege of co-chairing with Peter is like an MBA class in leadership, and I am not kidding. You guys should forget the Harvard stuff. Contact Peter Campbell for a week. it's amazing. And with that, Peter, I'm sure you have some remarks. We're going to close this out. I thank you all for your attention. It's been a pleasure to be here.
So it's funny how we always bring up where did you go to high school and where were you raised, because it was always our teachers and our coaches that really influenced our lives. So I think that's a big part of education, what we're trying to do. So I heard the Paterno name, I have to mention, I remember the great basketball players, Paterno family, right? I remember that. St. Rose, okay, they didn't have a football team, but that's all right. So, an interesting note from here. So Nick and Sons Bakery, anybody know about that opening in Spring Lake? He's here tonight, and we want to thank him for his contribution to Interfaith, but also his contribution to the faithfulness. The reason I bring him up because pretty much from his door, it's a 13-minute drive to Asbury Park, west of the tracks. So important to bring that out because it's so close. It's right here. Let's recognize it. Let's be part of it and follow our hearts to give. Thanks, everybody.
So obviously we're off to a really great start, and we still have more to do. We talked about the $5 million, and what we want to do is sincerely invite all of you to help us get the word out, to bring more people in, send them to Interfaith Neighbors at 410. They would love to spend time with people, get them involved, because without you, we're going to have a much harder time meeting this movement. And it's important that we do that. And to close out this evening, I'm going to ask Rabbi Sally Kruzan to come up and offer a prayer. Interfaith Neighbors, as Paul said, started off with a religious base. Sally has been there from the very beginning. She's still our board chair. And I just want to mention, and I hope I'm not embarrassing her, she was the first female rabbi in the United States.
Thank you all very much. I'm very proud to be associated with Interfaith Neighbors, having been one of the founders, together with my synagogue, Monmouth Reformed Temple in Tinton Falls. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to thank all of you for coming this evening and for your continued support of all that Interfaith Neighbors does. I know Kathy just mentioned not only giving a gift, but something else that you can do. We certainly hope that you will want to support our efforts to revitalize the west side of Asbury Park. But the other thing that you can do is tell our story. I'm sure that you had to be impressed by everything that was said tonight about all the things that we can do. 34 years ago, when we began Interfaith Neighbors, it began because a group of diverse faith communities came together to provide rental assistance and support services for the working poor. We can hardly believe where we are at today. I don't think we ever thought anything about what we could accomplish, and it shows what people of diverse backgrounds can do by coming together and working together. Now, as I mentioned, we began with faith communities coming together, and so our meetings, whether it's a board meeting, an annual meeting, or just an event like this, we always say a prayer. Usually I give the invocation. Today I was asked to give the benediction. So as we prepare now to return to our homes, let us pause for a moment of prayer. Eternal God, source of all goodness, the names we have for you are many, the images varied, and yet we know that you are one, and that we are all part of one human family, called to be your partners in completing the world. Help us to make our community a better place for everyone, especially the most vulnerable among us. We are grateful for the creativity of those who think outside the box, and those whose generosity makes possible our ability to serve others in so many different ways. We ask your blessing, O God, upon all who give so freely and generously of themselves to improve life for others. Help us always to count our blessings in such a way that we make our blessings count. And may we know, O God, that you are ever near. Amen.
I think Stephanie said we still have food and drinks going, if for those who'd like to chat a little bit. Thanks.
We'll all go home to our homes eventually, but not just yet. So please enjoy the hors d'oeuvres and the bars and food.